Hi viewers, in this video we are going to see the development of the GIT, gastrointestinal system. First we are going to see the stomach. Let us see the stomachs. You should know a few things about the development of gastrointestinal system. Number one, the gastrointestinal system is divided into three parts, that is your foregut, midgut and hindgut. So foregut means what are the structures are derived from the foregut, and first you should see this is the esophagus and this is your stomach, and then this is your duodenum, and from the duodenum first part, second part, third part and the fourth part, and from here your ileum, jejunum, and then ileum ends here, the ileocecal junction. This is your cecum, this is your appendix, and from here your colon starts. This is the ascending colon, this is the transverse colon, this is the descending colon, and here is your sigmoid colon and rectum, anal colon. This is how the GIT is. We know the gross anatomy of the GIT. Number one, the foregut, from where? So the esophagus, the stomach, and the first part of the duodenum up to the mid of the second part of the duodenum, where the bile duct opens. Up to this area is called as derivatives of foregut. So these are all derived from the foregut. So from the mid of the second part of the duodenum, third part of the duodenum and fourth part of the duodenum, jejunum, ileum, cecum, appendix, ascending colon, up to the right 2/3 of the transverse colon, up to this area, it is derived from the midgut. And then rest all the areas, this left 1/3 of the transverse colon and descending colon, sigmoid colon, everything is derived from the hindgut, right? So the same thing, you have the arteries for each gut. Foregut artery is your celiac trunk, and midgut artery is your superior mesenteric artery, and your hindgut artery is inferior mesenteric artery. Now we'll see how all these structures are being developed. Initially, when you see the development of the gastrointestinal system, you will be having only one tube, that is called as gut tube. So only one tube will be present, that is called as gut tube. Then second, what happens at 4th week of intrauterine life, there is a fusiform dilatation in the gut tube. Okay, there is a fusiform dilatation in the gut tube. For example, you can see this in this picture. There is a fusiform dilatation at the 4th week of intrauterine life, and this is the foregut, this is a gut tube, and the dilatation occurs here. Now what happens? Clockwise rotation, 90-degree clockwise rotation happens. So this left side becomes anteriorly and the right side becomes posteriorly. So it comes like this, and then during rotation, the clockwise rotation, this part is getting enlarged. This dorsal portion is getting ventrodorsally, it is getting enlarged. So this dorsal portion is getting enlarged. Look at this dorsal portion is getting enlarged. Now this part, it is 90-degree rotation, so it has turned like this. So initially it was like this. Okay, so now it is getting turned towards like this. So initially it was like this. This part you have the ventral mesentery in the anterior aspect, and this side you have the dorsal mesentery. So posteriorly you have the dorsal mesentery, anteriorly you have the ventral mesentery. Now it has become clockwise, it is 90-degree, it is getting turned, right? So 90-degree turn, it has become like this. See, this curvature is getting enlarged, so it is becoming the greater curvature, and it has not yet modified, not much modification, so it is called lesser curvature. Now what happens? So number one, what you should write for the stomach rotation, there is a foregut, the fusiform dilatation of the foregut at the 4th week, and the foregut rotates clockwise 90-degree. So this left portion comes anteriorly and the right portion goes posteriorly, and here the dorsal portion is becoming enlarged and becomes a greater curvature, and this becomes a lesser curvature. And now what happens? Now it is in the median plane. Now suddenly what happens? Because of the enlargement of the greater curvature more than the lesser curvature, this again rotates in the anterior-posterior axis. So what happens? This cranial portion, it comes towards the left side, and the caudal portion goes towards the right side. So this is how the stomach rotation takes place. So it is not in the midline. Now it has become turned. So these are the 4 steps takes place during rotation. So one is the longitudinal rotation, another one is the anteroposterior rotation. So this is about the stomach. Now stomach, everything is being formed, and then you will be having the muscular layer. You have longitudinal muscle and circular muscle. Circular muscle, if it is hypertrophied, what will happen? It will become constricted and it leads to congenital pyloric stenosis. So that is, this area is called as pylorus. So here the circular muscles will become hypertrophied. It leads to congenital pyloric stenosis. Okay. Firstborn male child only, usually it's affected by the congenital pyloric stenosis. So congenital pyloric stenosis cases, we have to go for Ramsted's operation. And next thing we are going to see how the midgut. So foregut, this much is enough, but for UGC this is enough. But anyway, while turning, I said the ventral part is, you have the ventral mesentery, and the dorsal portion you have the dorsal mesentery. The ventral mesentery will be the developing liver is entering into the ventral mesentery. So what is the important organ develops in the ventral mesentery? If somebody asks, you should tell us liver. The next thing we'll see that, see how the stomach is getting rotated. See, look at this. It is going because of the stomach rotation, because of the stomach is going like this axis, the fold is, it is getting folded, the mesentery is getting folded. So this is called as lesser omentum, and the space behind this is called as lesser sac or omental bursa. This is why how it is being formed. Then I will go to the duodenum. How the duodenum it is getting rotated. So in this picture you can see the foregut. We are almost reached the midgut. So in the midgut you can see the dorsal mesentery as well as the ventral mesentery. Here what happens? Look at this. This is the liver bud. Liver bud, I have already told you, it develops in the ventral mesentery because it is anterior. And this is the dorsal mesentery. Your pancreatic bud. You have two pancreatic buds. One is the ventral pancreatic bud. Another one is the dorsal pancreatic bud. Which one is larger? Dorsal pancreatic bud is larger. Now what happens? During the rotation, can you see the stomach? Fusiform dilatation of the stomach. When the stomach is being rotated, this side, the duodenal loop is also getting rotated. So it becomes a C-shaped loop. So what happens? It also turns, and the duodenum and the pancreas, duodenum is going towards the right side. So what happens? This bile duct, look at this, it is placed ventrally. So when it is rotating, where it goes back posteriorly. So along with the bile duct, this ventral bud of the pancreas is also going posteriorly, and it lies below the dorsal bud. So can you see this? It lies below the dorsal bud. Now next action. So when you read the development of the pancreas, when you write the exam, you should write pancreas is developed from two buds. One is called ventral bud, another one is called the larger dorsal bud. The ventral bud is present in this mesentery. The mesentery is a peritoneal fold. Okay, all the structures are developed inside the mesentery only. So ventral bud is formed inside the ventral mesentery, dorsal bud is formed inside the dorsal mesentery. Third point, during the rotation of the gut, this ventral mesentery along with the bile gut, it is going posteriorly. It rotates posteriorly and goes back and settles down below the dorsal bud. Understood? Now what happens? The next thing, how the pancreatic ducts are being formed. Okay, so this is this a picture which shows the gallbladder, liver bud, and ventral pancreatic bud. The bud is getting developed, and this is during the rotation. It goes back and settles down below that. So parts of the pancreas, the tail, body, and the head. Only the upper part of the head, body, tail, everything is developed from the dorsal bud, and the lower part of the head and the uncinate process are developed from the ventral part of the ventral bud. Okay, so this is a very important MCQ also. So again I repeat, this is the bigger one. So the upper part of the head, body, and tail, everything develops from the dorsal bud. The lower part of the head and uncinate process develops from the ventral bud. So this is very important. So over. Next, what about the ducts? So here also you will be having a duct in the dorsal bud, and in the ventral bud also you have the duct. So what happens? How the ducts are being formed? Next question. So look at this, how it rotates. Sometimes there will be bifid ventral pancreatic bud. So both the buds they join together, and then again it has to go for a rotation. If sometimes if this ventral bud, two ventral buds, if they fail to fuse, what will happen? One ventral bud will be coming anteriorly, another one ventral bud will be going posteriorly. So both they encircle the duodenum. So what will happen to the duodenum? Duodenum will be undergoing obstruction. So it will undergo obstruction. So duodenal obstruction will occur. This type of pancreas is called annular pancreas. See, two buds, two ventral buds. Usually we do not have two ventral buds, only one ventral bud. If sometimes if you have two ventral buds also, they should fuse together and then go for a rotation. If it fails to fuse, one of the ventral bud will be coming anteriorly, another bud will be going posteriorly. So both of them they encircle the duodenum. That is called as annular pancreas. And the duct. What about the duct? Okay, see here you will be having the main dorsal pancreatic duct and the ventral pancreatic. This distal portion of the dorsal pancreatic duct bud. Okay, this bud contains a duct. So the distal portion of this duct comes and joins with the ventral duct and forms the major pancreatic duct, and they open into the duodenum as major duodenal papilla. And then the rest of the proximal portion of the dorsal pancreatic duct alone will be opening in the minor pancreatic papillae, that is called accessory pancreatic duct. So you should write the main pancreatic duct is formed by the distal portion of the dorsal pancreatic duct joins with the ventral bud duct and opens into the major duodenal papilla, and the rest only the proximal portion is called as accessory pancreatic duct that opens into the minor papilla. So this is the MCQ, right? So while drawing you have to draw this like this. Okay, you have to draw the dorsal pancreatic bud, and this is the ventral pancreatic bud, and this is your duodenum. Okay, second part of the duodenum, and here the duct in the dorsal bud, the distal portion joins with the ventral bud duct and opens into the major duodenal papilla, and here the only this portion alone will be transformed into accessory pancreatic duct and opens into the minor duodenal papilla. So this is how the duct has been formed, and clinical application is annular pancreas. This is the annular pancreas. And then last note is what about the septa, connective tissue of the pancreas. The septa and connective tissue of the pancreas are formed from the mesenchyme. It means from the mesoderm. And then next structure, insulin, how it is produced at 10th week of intrauterine life, the insulin is being produced, and glucagon, somatostatin are developed before that. So this is how you have to complete your short notes about the development of the pancreas. So you know the rotation of the stomach and you know the development of the pancreas. Usually for UG's development of the pancreas will be asked. And then next video we are going to see the development of the midgut and the intestine.